shake.
Hey guys and gals, we're here with Psycho Arm Sports and Travis Tuggle, the American Psycho, and we are going to have a nice little chat. Take it away, Travis.
Hi there, everybody. So I'm here with Chris Paxton, Bo Olson, Cody Vanderweer, kind of the leaders of Psycho Arm Sports. I know we are missing
Mikey Creason.
Yep. Yes, I know we're missing him. So we're just going to try and get a little bit of a background on your guys' story and how everything came to be for Psycho Arm Sports. So Chris, can you give us just a little bit of a background, how you got into the sport?
I got into the sport because of Bo. I got into it in 2014 as a way A, to stay in shape, and B, to have something fun to do, the camaraderie and the friendships that you've earned during your time in arm wrestling. So it's been a lot of fun. Good deal.
Been arm wrestling my whole life. This was kind of my dream. Started when I was a kid, arm wrestling. Got into some tournaments, local tournaments, Mary McConaughey and Cliff Hall's tournaments, at a young age. Started pulling pro classes by the time I was 18, and just been doing it my whole life, and it's always been a lifelong passion for me just to always outdo the guy across the table from me, and outdo myself. And had a little time out of the sport for a little while and had a vision, kind of wanted to, when I got out, kind of wanted to rebirth myself as an arm wrestler and as an athlete, being an older man, and had this vision and just started building an empire, man. Got with some good guys and the right crew and started building this team, and we've been going for about 6 years deep now.
7.
7 years. Yeah.
7 years strong now, so got the right guys in the right spots.
Yeah, so I've been in the sport for about 6 years. Kind of a funny story. I live in Eudora, born in South Dakota, moved to Eudora about 13 years ago. Got a text one night on a Wednesday evening from a buddy that was down at the bar with a flyer attached to it. There was an arm wrestling tournament. It said, "Hey, what are you doing this Saturday?" And I replied with, "Well, I guess I'm fucking arm wrestling." And I went down the night before and I met these two jokers just to see what arm wrestling was all about. If this is a real sport, like I'd done just like anybody else on a cafeteria table, a kitchen table at parties and stuff like that. Ran into Bo and Chris, yeah. Got to know these guys real well. Hopped in the amateur class and took second in my class, and got recruited hard by these guys, and I just kind of fell in love with it immediately. I have a background in powerlifting, a little bit of strongman stuff, but this is completely different. It was a true strength sport, but what blew me away is that we had little guys that were 140 pounds that were in that tournament. That just mopped the floor with me on the after pulling on the table.
Yeah.
So I knew this was a sport for me, and I had to learn how to do it and master it.
That's awesome. That's awesome, guys. So how did the name Psycho Arm Sports come to be? How did the actual team form? The name and everything like that. The background.
Name, I guess, is maybe more of a moniker. Probably it's probably didn't necessarily mean the same thing now that it used to 20 years ago, but it's turned into a positive, good thing. Just always been very enthusiastic about things and very fiercely driven. So Psycho's always kind of been a part of me, whether it be motocross or whatever it may be that I'm doing, specifically arm wrestling. That I get to let out my monster, man, and that's kind of always been my thing, is just explosivity and being able to flip that switch, and that's a good moniker, I think, to have, and it follows closely at all the guys, the work ethics, and they're just on fire for the sport and for being stronger and being stronger human beings too, not just athletes. I mean, it's just psycho's not a bad term for us at all. It's a good thing. It means that we're super psycho dedicated for what we're trying to do and just fierce about the competition.
I can definitely understand that. I get a little bit psycho also on the table. So how many do you guys have actually in your training group that come on a regular basis, and how often do you guys train together?
Well, we train weekly. Up until recently, we were doing practices twice a week. Decided to scale back a little bit just to be a little bit easier on the arms and the elbows and whatnot. I think the trouble with arm wrestling is that sometimes less is more. You know what I'm saying? But we have a good staple of about a good dozen guys that are very, very consistent. On any given practice, we might have up to, like we had yesterday, where we might have 20 or more pullers show up to practice. But I would say at the core, we probably got a good dozen that is
12 to 15
pretty
is
consistent.
solid.
Yeah.
They all seemed solid yesterday. I gripped up with quite a few of them. They were some strong boys. All
Hard
of them.
workers, man.
Yes, and you can tell they're putting in the time. You guys teach them really well. So this is going to be kind of a group question. So what do you guys enjoy about the sport at the moment? What is something you love about the sport right now that you see going on in the sport? What's something you guys love about the sport?
I personally, for me, I've been arm wrestling since the 90s, early 90s, and for me to see the way that its popularity has, and there's too many names to really name it. We all obviously know who some of the frontiersmen are that are really, really bringing the sport back in the limelight again. But I mean, there's so many awesome groups of individuals that are putting time in and dedicating to be arm wrestlers and be groups and teams like what we are and stuff. But right now, it's on the uptick for sure. It's really awesome to see how many different clubs are. There's a lot of good arm wrestlers, really getting strong,
Yeah.
really putting in a lot of work and stuff. So it's really awesome to see that again. We kind of see it go. We saw it go away for a little while, and now the popularity is definitely back, and it's exploding right now, and it's awesome again to see that.
Yeah, it's definitely classes are getting deeper as far as your
Right.
quality of arm wrestlers right now.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I think the one thing about arm wrestling that I like the most is growing up with being in strength sports in general, is that you're always competing against an apparatus. Either it's a barbell or a stone or pulling a truck or doing something, and you're competing against other guys using the same apparatus. But wrestling is the only other sport that I could have any experience with that it's similar to arm wrestling, where I have to beat you, and I don't have to beat you one way. I can beat you a couple of different ways. So it's a martial art by itself. Without having to get punched in the face. So I really dig that.
Hopefully.
Well, and I enjoy seeing all the young kids that are coming into the sport, even ages 5 and 6 and on up, and because that's the future of the sport. And without the kids, they're going to help the sport grow too. And it's just really nice to see all the young kids get involved in it too.
yeah, it is fun to watch the young kids grow up, or the amateurs coming into the sport that
Right.
really they get busted a ton, and then they start slowly creeping up on you. I love seeing that stuff.
Yeah, what's unique about our team is that you guys noticed yesterday that we have so many different levels. That we got guys that have been in the sport for 25 years. We got guys like that Bill Loxton trained on the regular. That he's like a 15-year vet, and then guys like me and Chris that between 5 and 7 years, and then we got guys that are between 1 and 4 years. So we have different levels on the team, all taking care of each other and iron sharpening iron and making sure that. There's not a lot of gripping and ripping. It's a lot of actual training as opposed to just seeing who can pin who today.
Yeah, some training groups is all about busting up the elbows and who's got can own everybody in practice.
Right.
But yeah, what I saw
Pecking
yesterday.
order pulling.
Exactly. Yeah, it's seeing who's got the bigger on the table. I didn't see that really yesterday. People were working really well together yesterday. So on the flip side, what are you guys seeing in the sport right now that you don't enjoy? That is negative to you, or that you don't really enjoy for the sport?
You want to take that?
Yeah, personally for me, like being in the sport as long as I have been, the thing I don't like is the disrespect, and I'm as intense and as psycho as anybody, you know what I mean. But I have a firm level and core beliefs on respect and how to behave on the table and off the table. And at the end of the day, we're all professionals. There's a time and place for that, and it's not like we're not having a bicep measuring contest.
There we go.
You know what I mean?
There we go.
So for me, it's all about the training, the preparation. All your hard work and everything. It shows at the table. So I mean, it's good. I love having fun, and everything else. But at the end of the day, they're professionals. We're all professionals, and we're here to basically have a legal war against one another. You know what I mean? And
Right.
it's good to see guys that can still keep it and be professional and and do what they're supposed to do and look classy and do what they're supposed to do. We don't need to. I mean, we all know what happens when things get out of control.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a catch-22 with the things that I like and don't necessarily like about the sport. I really like the idea of being able to walk into a tournament and seeing a guy like a Travis Page, and there was at the tournament here recently, and shake hands with him and be totally cool with him. Probably doesn't know me by name, but he knows me from past tournaments and whatnot. And seeing a guy like that that's at the top, the elite of the sport, this is really one of the few sports that you can walk into a room and be able to say what's up to one of the best guys in the world there. But on the flip side, you got some guys that are kind of have the opposite attitude. They think they're that guy, and because you're not that guy, they don't want anything to do with you. They don't want to talk to you. So it's kind of a 6 one way, half a dozen the other sometimes, just depending on what your personality type is.
Yeah, I agree with that. Anything from you?
No, I agree. When I first got into this sport, no matter where you went, no matter what tournament it was, how big, how small, everybody was so open and friendly, and it was just pretty cool to do that. And like Cody said, meeting those guys at certain tournaments and always a handshake and a hello and all that stuff. And that's what makes the sport cool. But, the attitude sometimes is not there, but that's okay too,
Yeah. All right. So time for a little bit of fun. So I'm going to ask each of you guys some questions, but you only get one word.
Okay.
So when I ask the question, it's one word answer.
Got it.
So, okay. So I'll start with you, Chris, because you're straight next to me here. So what is your thoughts on steroids in the sport?
Bad.
Okay. Bo, what are your thoughts on Michael Todd versus devonlarratt?
Excited.
Okay. What are your thoughts on all the YouTube channels coming up and everybody trying to get all the content that they can get?
Saturated.
Okay.
I like that.
Saturated. That was good. I like that.
That's good.
Okay, we're gonna come back to you. Do you follow RVJ versus Ryan Bowman? Don't follow? What are your thoughts on that? One word.
Who?
Who? RVJ, Ryan Bowman. Who?
You said only one word, but I'd have to say right or left hand.
Oh, right hand.
Right hand. Interesting.
What do you think? How do you think Levon and Michael Todd would go?
Forever.
Okay. So everybody, this is Psycho Arm Sports. It was great hanging out with these guys all weekend long. Had a wonderful time. The hospitality was on point. They treated us like kings all weekend. Thank you guys.
Thank you guys. Psycho Arm
See you
Sports.
soon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.